Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll show you how to set up an OBS Studio template using profiles and scene collections for a streamlined workflow. This method ensures every project starts with a perfected layout, making transitions and modifications effortless. So let's go ahead first and set up our project and our profile project or profile. We want to go into profiles, and I'm not going to get into the down and dirty of that because everybody's going to be a bit different, but I want you to go to audio and make sure you have your microphone, at least one microphone enabled and ready to go. And then and all the other settings you need to do for yourself, because every project is, or every person is different, and just apply that. And also, we won't dive into that advanced settings for the profile because those depend on whether you're streaming or recording and what your output's going to be and all that. Now, I'm going to get into how to set up the basic scene collection. Now, my process is I always create a blank scene with nothing in it, no images or anything else, so I can start from there and transition to my other ones. So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to create a scene. Scene 1, call that intro. Scene 2, scene 3, scene 4. And also create a scene called X background image and X background music. Now, the reason I name these with the X in the beginning is it denotes them to me as being global scenes or elements that are used globally and in other scenes, not standalone scenes by themselves. And the first thing we're going to go in and add some images. And here I've added 3 background images and of different types. And in the background music, I've added 2 different music files, media source, music file, named for what they are, what the song titles are. So they're individual, so I know what they are, and I can pick and choose what I want when I want it. Now with that set up, I can go to my first scene, and I want to add a scene to these 2 scenes to each and every other scene that I have. With background music and background image as a scene. I would go to sources, plus, and I would be adding a scene. So I would have a background image and a background music in each of my 1 through 4 scenes. You could also add other elements, overlay possibilities like logos, pop-ups, as separate global scenes. And the global scenes let us reuse elements across multiple scenes with little or no effort. And it always has the same consistency in the setup. So adding this way makes you be able to maintain a professional setup. Let's go into these, and each one of these is going to have, we could have different effect filters for each image or music file. Now, let's say I want to add color correction to my background images. I would do that very simply. And with my music, I can go in there and add filters like a compressor. And what the compressor can do is allow my audio to, my background music audio in this setup with my side ducking, not have the music overpower my voice or whatever I want. But each one of these can have their own filters and effects. And there we go. I go set that back up again and make it, so you can see I've added the compressor. It's in here in my first music file, and I set up the compressor and the side check ducking and whatever the heck it is, and I go up and copy my filters and paste them into my second one. And here it is pasted into the second one. I only need to do it once. And anytime I add a new media file, I'll just copy the filters and paste them into the new one. So it's very flexible, and I don't have to repeat this for everything I do. Let's go on to something else. Now I can go through and manually change my transitions between my scenes, and that'll be fine, or I can use hotkeys. But let's go ahead and turn on our first background. Little eyes, turning that one on. So now you see it in each one of my scenes, and it can have a different layout. You can resize it or whatever here, and that's pretty cool. And then it's the same background. Now, if I want to change to a different background in a different project, I just do that. Turn off one, turn on the other, and there I go. Same thing with the background music. I can pick one, and that's going to flow through all my scenes that have this in there. Or I could select another one. Turn off one, turn on the other, and that's all part of it. So the scenes are both have the same background and same consistency with the music through each one. There you go. There you go. And if I want to, I can, in my intro scene, I can put on some different elements to it. So I start off with my blank. I move to scene 1, my intro. Move to scene 2, which I can have my cam. Let me put my background that I have here. Turn off this one, put that one. That's the one I have. There we go. We transition to my cam, and now I transition to my next scene, which has a different layout for my camera. And I go to my end scene, and I can put in some logos or some words or whatever I want to do. Very flexible, very versatile. And there we go. Now I can start my recordings and do what I need to do. And I can manually transition through the scenes, or I could use the studio mode and be able to change my transitions back and forth, whatever I want. This way. Like this. Transition to the next one. So I go to my blank, and I'm transitioning to the next one. Here's my first one. Let's see what I'm doing as I'm doing it. And I can also go into my profile. If I'm using a hotkey, and I go down to hotkeys, and there we are. And I can set up my scenes with my hotkeys. Transition, let me go over here to my keyboard. I have a IQ control keyboard, and it has all these 6 different function keys on the side, or different extra keys. And I can set up the key layouts so they do certain things, like Shift F1 or Shift F2, and it will map them to these hotkeys. And so now I could just set up how I'm each one of my scenes to transition. I hit key 1, key 2, key 3, key 4. And it moves them over, transitions automatically. And I can do other settings too, like this one here. My last key is my pause button, so I can pause during a recording. And this is very functional for me. Now let's say I don't want to have my background music outputted. I just want to hear it, so I can hear it as I'm creating my video, but I don't want it output yet. I want to put the sound in later in my final editing process. So I would do it this way. I would mute the output, but be able to monitor it. And that way I'll hear it, but it won't output to the video, and then I can go ahead and see and hear on the screen what's going on, how it's happening, and then later put the music in during the editing process. And really, that's the basics of how to create the template. We can go ahead and be able to have the same layout on everything. And I can add elements later, overlays later, my final editing process, but I always have a consistently same setup so that whatever elements I add later, they can be easily modified. Because what I have done is created a scene template layout. Always the same. I can quickly swap back and forth between different backgrounds, different music for each independent project, and then put in overlays, change little tweak things, tweak a few things, and be able to keep consistently my same layout, but flexible. And I just make a copy. So in this setup, I can always use the same profile. I never need to change it because all my scenes are always named the same thing. 1, C2, C3, C4. My hotkeys are always the same. My background I can change at will. My background music I can change at will for individual projects. So all I would need to do is keep this perfected template alone. Don't ever edit it unless I'm making change, permanent change. And then let's go up to scene collection and duplicate it and save it as something like working copy. And then in that one, I can go ahead and add other elements, scene-specific elements for that one video recording project. This particular one is about OBS. Seen how to do this, and so in my intro scene, I've got my text and all that other stuff that isn't going to be used in my next project. So now I can go back, get rid of my working copy after I'm done, go back to the original, copy it again, make a duplicate as another working copy or whatever I want to save it as, and use that for my next project. Very simple and straightforward. Now, in the next video, I'll show you how OBS Studio can be used for full video editing. No external editor needed. That is how powerful OBS is. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again at another time.